Being able to choose between tackling heist and loud and then stealth is one of Payday 2's best features, as it adds even more replayability to the heist by giving entirely different ways to play them. Even as someone who doesn't really play stealth that often, it's still something I find really fun to do every once in a while. Of course though, the game plays entirely differently in stealth, and by extension, requires you to use different builds. Even as someone who doesn't play that much stealth, I've still played enough of it to put together an incredibly versatile and effective build for it. To start off with on the build, we use Copycat as our perk deck. We get fleet-footed for the first 4 cards to increase our movement speed while crouching and carrying bags, and for the final card we pick Code Glitch so we get access to the Pocket ECM. When you activate the Pocket ECM, it disables all electronics and pages for 6 seconds, which can really come in clutch if you get yourself into a precarious situation. If you're playing on console though, you'll have to use hackers so that you can use Pocket ECMs. For the weapons on the build, we use the Akimbo Shimano Compacts and the Judge, as they're both weapons that don't require any DLC and can easily hit high concealment. We also use the Over 9000 saw, but it's a weapon we won't use outside of heists that benefit from having a saw. For the Akimbo Shimano Compacts, we mod it with the Size Doesn't Matter suppressor and the +3 concealment boost. For the Judge, we mod it with the Silent Killer suppressor and the concealment boost. On top of its high concealment, the Judge is also great because it's a shotgun and has pushback, meaning that killing guards launches their bodies. While it doesn't seem too useful at first, being able to launch the guards can prove quite handy, as you can use it to push them into more favourable positions. For the saw, we mod it with the concealment boost, silent motor, and the durable blade. For skills on the build, we start by getting Force Friendship Basic and Confident Basic. Force Friendship Basic gives us more cable ties, letting us be able to tie up more civs. Confident Basic does 2 things, both buffing the range and power of our Intimidation. Intimidation is a hidden stat that affects shouting and marking. With an increase to our Intimidation, it lets us be able to shout at and mark out things from further away. We then grab Resilience Basic and Transporter Basic. Resilience Basic opens up the tree, and Transporter Basic lets us move bags further. We get Scavenger Basic and Portable Saw Aced. Scavenger Basic just opens up the tree. Portable Saw Ace lets us use the saw as a secondary weapon and gives us an extra blade for the saw, as well as increasing its damage against sawable objects. We get Third Law Basic, Eco Sentry Basic, and Jack of All Trades Aced. Third Law Basic and Eco Sentry Basic are there just to open up the tree. Jack of All Trades Ace and lets us deploy and interact with our deployables 100% faster, and also lets us carry a secondary deployable. However, it does come with the caveat that we'll only be able to carry half of what we would have if it was our primary deployable. It's worth noting that with deployables that have charges, it doesn't affect the amount of charges it'll have if you use it as a secondary deployable. For example, a body bag case will have 3 charges in it regardless of if it's being used as a primary or a secondary deployable. We then grab Hardware Expert Aced, Drill Sergeant Aced, More Firepower Aced, and Kickstarter Aced. Hardware Expert Ace lets us fix drills and saws 25% faster, as well as making them silent so that guards won't be lured to them because of their noise. It then also gives our drills and saws a 10% chance to automatically restart after they break. Drill Sergeant Ace then decreases our drill and saw timers by 30%. More Firepower Ace increases our trip mine and shape charge capacity by 11 and 3 respectively, for a total of 14 trip mines and 6 charges. Trip mines are honestly a pretty underrated deployable for stealth, as with their sensor mode you can set them up all around the map to mark guards out. So with more trip mines we'll be able to set up more of them to keep guards more consistently marked out. Kickstarter Ace gives us an additional 20% chance for our drills and saws to automatically restart after breaking. The skill also gives us the ability to have a 50% chance to automatically reset drills and saws by simply meleeing them, but you can only use the ability once every time it's broken. Chameleon Ace makes us get detected slower, mark out enemies, and pick up items all in casing mode, as well as give us a 30% increase to the value of items that we pick up. Phoenix Ray starts us off with an extra body bag in our inventory and lets us carry it to a maximum of 3 body bags, as well as giving us an extra body bag case. The extra body bag case isn't too useful in most circumstances. After all, you'll either be using ECMs or trip mines as your primary, but it still does have some usage, like on Scarface Mansion for example. Sixth Sense Ace then lets us mark out enemies within a 10 meter radius of us if we stay still for 3.5 seconds, as well as letting us buy all insider assets and have reduced cleaner costs. Nimble Ace lets us disable cameras for 25 seconds, as well as lockpick twice as fast and be able to lockpick safes. ECM Overdrive Ace then increases the ECM jammer's duration by 25%, as well as letting us open up certain doors with ECM jammers. ECM Specialist Ace then lets us have 2 ECM jammers, with the durations being increased by 25% and now being able to delay pages. We grab Duck and Cover Basic, Parkour Basic, and Inner Pockets Basic. Duck and Cover Basic increases our sprinting speed by 25%, as well as making our stamina regenerate 25% earlier and 25% faster. Parkour Basic increases our movement speed by an additional 10% while sprinting, as well as giving us a 20% increase to our speed while we climb ladders. Inner Pockets Basic then increases the concealment of our melee weapons by 2. Lastly, we get Second Wind Basic, Optical Illusions Aced, and High Value Target Aced. Second Wind is mostly there just to open up the tree, but it does actually have some good usage if you're ECM rushing, as you can use explosives to break your armor to get the speed boost from it. Optical Illusions then gives us 1 concealment for every suppressed weapon we equip, as well as reducing the concealment penalty of suppressors by 2. High Value Target increases the amount of time that specials we mark out stay marked for by 100%, as well as letting us mark out enemies by looking at them while aiming down sights. For the deployable on the build, you actually have a lot of choice for what you use, as we've invested into multiple deployables. I'd recommend choosing your deployables based on what heist you're playing, as some deployables will be more effective than others on certain heists. For our armor, we of course go with the 2-piece suit. It has the most mobility and highest concealment out of all the armors, making it the perfect choice for stealth. For our throwable, we go with the pocket ECM. For our melee, we can use any of them that hits 32 concealment, but I'd recommend using the money bundle as it doesn't require any DLC and is also incredibly funny. And with that, the build is finished, and now you have an incredibly versatile and effective build for any heist in the game. As usual though, I've been Cookie Dough, and have a good one.